This is Chastity, and you're listening to the Interactive Interview.
Hey guys, my name is James Walsh, and you are listening to the Wrestling Epicenter here on YouTube. I want to thank you for finding us. Please do me a favor and click that subscribe button and the notifications bell. And if you get the chance on this video, click the like button. If you do, it'll turn blue. Check it out. Also, check out WrestlingEpicenter.com for all this great content available in MP3 format, our online store that'll keep us going free and clear, daily news updates, as well as all the information from the history of professional wrestling you could possibly ever want. Check out WrestlingEpicenter.com online right now. Without any delay, let's get to your interview here on the Wrestling Epicenter.
You don't have to cling to these conventions just because they're conventions. Do things. You're writing a TV show now, okay? That's what you're doing. Yeah, this is wrestling, but you're writing a TV show.
Guys, we're being joined on the line right now by Denise Riffle, a.k.a. Chastity. Chastity, you with us?
Yes, I am. How are you?
Eric, I'm sorry to interrupt your point there. Eric was in the middle of a rant. I don't know if you caught it.
Hatred of Triple H can stand till later.
You caught us in the middle of a giant, I guess you would probably call it a giant Mark Nerdfest, or was it complaining about things?
It's true.
Okay.
The last time a guest interrupted one of those, Armando and I got in a huge argument. So
yeah,
I'm sure this will be a lot more pleasant.
All right, guys. Well, joining us on the line right now, in case I did not give her the appropriate introduction, is a former ECW and WCW valet, none other than the former Chastity. Chastity, how are you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. How are you?
We're doing great. It's great to have you on the show. We've been meaning to have you on for a while.
And, thank you.
It's great to have you on. Like I said to you, I think I said it either via email or on the phone the other day. I had seen you a few years ago on like a Raven behind-the-scenes DVD, and I thought, I need to interview her because nobody's ever really interviewed her in recent times. I needed to get on the phone with her.
Yeah, that was probably me.
That was
probably me. Yeah.
I remember back in, I think it was in '99. I saw you did a few things for WoW. Maybe, I don't know. My memory's a little sketchy back then.
Right.
But that was really it. I don't remember you doing a lot.
That's a nice way to read the guest. I can say that I was always a fan, and I had a friend online every night who would always be like, "Oh, I love Chastity," and he was You definitely have your fans out there, and hopefully he'll be listening in on this one. But let's talk a little bit about what's coming up on June the 27th out in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
And that'll be Francine, as she is presenting Legends of the Arena, obviously shying away from the letters ECW, but obviously we all get what it's all about. And it's really a reunion of the original and real stars of Extreme Championship Wrestling from when ECW was ECW.
Yeah.
So are you looking forward to getting out there, getting to meet some of the fans, and getting back in front of that crowd?
Absolutely. And that arena, I mean, you know, you can't say enough about it. You know, that's the heart of you know, what we used to be, you know.
Absolutely.
And there's nothing like that arena in Philadelphia. You know, so hopefully we'll get back to the roots of it. So it should be an exciting time and an exciting event.
Absolutely, and it's really a cool concept too, because a lot of people don't realize that a lot of the proceeds are going to be going to the American Cancer Society, and we had Francine on, and that is because of her family situation that she's had.
Yeah.
So obviously, it's not only a really awesome fan fest in the building that made the company that we all really enjoyed and that really shaped wrestling for the past 10 years.
Definitely.
Yeah.
It's not just that, but it's also a good cause, too. So you can do something cool for yourself. You could be selfish and go to see a great wrestling event and meet some of your greatest heroes from that era of wrestling.
Absolutely.
And even feel good about yourself for doing it because you're doing it for a good cause, too.
Absolutely. For putting it back into the Cancer Foundation. Absolutely. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I mean, I'm looking forward to, I'm not going to be there, but I'm looking forward to hearing how this turns out, and I want to do everything I can because this seems like such a cool idea. Is there anybody you're looking forward to in particular to crossing paths with that you haven't seen in a while?
Oh my gosh, yeah. Well, I did the autograph signing in Allentown a couple of weeks ago. Maybe it was like a month ago. But yeah, I got to see a lot of people that I hadn't seen in probably close to 10 years maybe. But yeah, there's a lot of people back there that I saw, like just incredible. Missed him a lot. Hadn't seen him in years. Sandman, hadn't seen Hack in years. Love him. Raven, of course. I see him from time to time. There's a couple people in the business that I kind of have kept in contact with. Just a small few, but there's a lot of people like Francine. I mean, I hung out with her constantly. We traveled together and we hung out a lot together, even behind the scenes a lot. And I hadn't seen her in forever. I didn't even know she was pregnant, and walked up to her at the Fan Fest and just surprised, and got to see her after so many years, and it was just like, we picked up where we left off, So that was really neat. That was really neat.
I'm sorry,
What was
let me
that?
introduce myself. My name is Patrick. I didn't get a chance to introduce myself when you came on, but I've got a
He
question.
is from Maryland. By the way, Patrick, she's in Maryland as well.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I'm near Annapolis.
Really? I'm in Silver
Yeah.
Spring near D.C.
Oh, okay.
And when I lived there, I was right under D.C., so I used to be near you guys. So we could have had a happy little triangle there, but
There you go.
I'm in Chicago now, unfortunately. Well, not unfortunately, I like it here, but
I'm in the middle of the desert, so.
Anyway, I wanted to ask you, you mentioned Sandman's name.
Sure.
Sandman, I don't know if you know this, but Sandman is kind of like the ECW equivalent of Andre the Giant in that everybody seems to have a funny story about Sandman. Do you have any funny stories about him?
Oh my gosh, do I have any funny stories about him? I mean, there's so many funny stories about him. I do remember, and this is kind of a funny, and I don't know how many fans really know this about them, but really, Raven and Sandman have very, very high IQs, and I don't know how many fans really know that about the two of them. I would be in the back seat traveling with them a lot, and they would give each other. They would do like these quizzes with each other, where they would literally be handing back and forth like questions to each other, like name the 3 types of clouds, like nimbus or cumulus or whatever, the different. And it was just kind of weird because they would absolutely know these things, and to listen to the two of them, ramble on and on and on about these things, and I'd be sitting there going, oh my gosh, like I learned that in 12th grade chemistry or, something like that, and I'd be sitting in the back going, are you kidding me? Like I never knew that kind of stuff. But the two of them, they would just, ramble on and on about clouds and chemistry and world history, and I would just sit back there and go, and you guys wrestle for a living? But it was just amazing to me, just the minds that these two had. And to look at them or to watch them in the ring, you'd just be like, these two are idiots.
Yeah.
But to know them personally, it was just, they were geniuses. In real life, they literally were.
Absolutely.
They had very, very high IQs, and to be there and listen to them in the car, it was amazing.
Now, I love Raven. But if you want to find out how high his IQ is, the best way to find that out is just ask him. Because he's not shy about telling you.
Absolutely.
No, he likes to brag about that.
Or play Scrabble.
Oh, and he will. Oh, yeah. Right. But you'd never know it about Hack. You'd never know that about Sandman.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
It's just kind of funny.
yeah.
You would never know that about him.
Now, you went with Jim to WCW in, I want to say, early part of 1999, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, and that was during a time where I think is where everyone is aware the company had no idea what they were doing, and it seemed like I personally feel they really misused the two of you to what you guys to what you could have been. I didn't think. I don't know. I feel there was a lot of misuse of talent during that time, as I think most people do. What was the atmosphere backstage during that time? Was it as insane as everybody says it was, that everybody was running around, nobody knew what anyone else was doing? What can you describe, like, how it was there then?
You know, it was kind of funny because I'm being really, really new in there. I wasn't sure, and I had never been in that kind of atmosphere before.
Sure.
You know, I was coming really from ECW, where it was a real family, you know, it was very family, or you know what I mean? Like, we were very, very much of a family. So I never really knew what, you know, that type of atmosphere should have been.
Sure.
To me, it was more of, you know, coming from my point of view, it was, you know, I'm the new kid, I have to pay my dues, you know, that type of thing. That's how I grew up in the business. That's what I knew of the business was, this is new for me, I'm the new guy, I have to pay my dues, this is what I have to do. Now, for a lot of the new kids, I guess, nowadays just don't know that. As far as I've seen,
paying the dues
in the locker rooms and stuff like that. That I've, you know, if I do a show now or something like that, a lot of these new kids, they don't know stuff like that. You know, it's all about what can I do? You know, what about me? What about me? And the new kids, they don't know a lot about that anymore. And I don't know why the business has changed like that. But when I was with WCW, I guess I really didn't pay that much attention to what was going on in the upper links, because I was more worried about, like, stepping on anyone's toes, or, do you know what I mean?
Obviously, worried, keep making sure your own eggs are in the basket as opposed to someone else. Exactly. Only because I knew where I had to be. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So I really wasn't paying that much attention to that. It seemed to me like the big dogs were like Hulk and Goldberg and Nash.
Yeah, so they pretty much ran the show. I didn't see a lot of anybody else making any kinds of decisions or anything else. I think it was that group, and they pretty much ran the show. I don't think anybody else in there ran anything. I think it was pretty much them, and that was it. I didn't see anyone else back there making any kind of decisions.
Now, WCW was kind of a company where women weren't really used in the way that you were used a lot.
Right.
They had the Nitro girls, you know, they wore the little nice outfits and shook what they had to shake. And that was nice because it was a nice market for the guys to have. And I equated it to, like, cheerleaders. It was fine. It worked for what they did. But one of the only women that they had was Elizabeth. And she would occasionally do some, you know, getting involved, but you were drastically different for WCW because you went in there with the fire extinguisher and you got in there with, you know, the shopping cart, the tricks and all things like that, and you got in there and you did some stuff. Do you think that really should have taken off a little more in WCW than it really did? Because it seemed like the fans were getting behind you.
I mean, I would have hoped it would have gotten a little bit. You know, I was hoping it would have taken off a little bit more than it did. I was kind of hoping that it would have, and I think that with doing the vignettes and things like that with Raven, I thought maybe that we had a chance at doing a little bit more from the get-go.
Right, absolutely.
And then I think that that me turning on Raven so quickly, I felt like we didn't give it that much of a shot. And then when Hack got hurt, I kind of knew it wasn't going to go that far. And then we went off the road for a while, and I thought, well, people are just going to forget about us.
Oh.
You know, and then it kind of went downhill from there. And the problem with that is that, especially in WCW, when you have, you know, like in ECW, if you're a woman in the business in ECW, you can kind of carry yourself as a woman.
Right.
Because you can get involved in a match because it makes sense.
Right.
But when you're in WCW and you're a woman valet, it doesn't make sense for you to get involved anywhere because they don't use you enough.
Right.
You know what I mean? So if your guy goes off the road, you're off the road too.
You're off the road too. Oh, interesting.
So that doesn't, you know. So it's kind of a bummer.
You guys are like attached to the hip.
What's that?
You guys are like attached to the hip, essentially. Like if like one goes down, yeah.
Right.
Now, with you doing some of the things that you did, because like James already said, you were so radically different from a lot of the other girls that were in WCW at the time. Did you have any trouble getting along with them? I mean, were they bothered by the other women in the company, were they bothered by some of the stuff that you were doing, and did they feel like maybe they would be expected to do those things down the road themselves?
Oh my gosh, absolutely not. I got along with them so well. Molly Holly, her and I used to work out in the ring. We had the best time when she came on.
Oh, cool.
She was awesome. And before that, I got along absolutely great with Miss Elizabeth. When I went in there early, her and I would sit down and talk for hours. And actually Medusa, when she was there, her and I got along great. Let's see, who else was there?
It wasn't that many, except the Nitro girls like Kimberly.
Yeah, I was going to say.
They had Gorgeous George was on there for a little bit.
Yeah, but you know what? She was only on there a few times, and she really didn't hang out in the girls' locker room that much. I would say for the most part.
She was probably shackled to Savage in some sense.
Yeah.
Was she with Savage the whole time?
She wasn't in there a lot, and Kimberly wasn't in there a lot either. I mean, she came in the locker room a couple times, I think maybe just to get changed, but that was about it. I think for the most part it was really just Elizabeth and I, and then it was Medusa for a little bit,
right.
And then when Molly came in, so it was really just
because the Team Madness girls. I remember it was Medusa, Molly was like Miss Madness or something, and Gorgeous George. Those were the three, right? Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Now there was a lot of tension going on with WCW at the time, and like you said, you weren't really involved with a lot of that because that was a power struggle that was ready to implode, and I personally didn't think it was going to hit the level that it did with the company closing, but I think a lot of us were surprised to see that it went that far, but I think we all, watching it from 95 when Nitro took off the air till 99, we could see kind of how it was slowly unraveling, and the screws were kind of coming out, and it was falling apart at the seams. But you guys were getting over with the stuff, and I kind of went and touched on this earlier. You think that's why it was, though, just because Sandman got hurt or Hack got hurt, that they kind of just said, well, you know what, we have no use for you then? Is that why they kind of pulled you?
I mean, that's really the only, and that's the thing, was because Hack had to go off the road, and when he got injured, he had to go off the road for like 3 or 4 months. And that was, and then I don't think that they were using Bam Bam or Raven.
No, not really.
So, and then that, because Bam Bam was working with Hack, so that pulled Bam Bam pretty much off.
And Raven was miserable and ended up quitting.
Yeah, and Raven quit. So, I mean, I don't think that they really even gave the hardcore thing that much of a work.
What was the match that he got injured in? Exactly.
You know what? I don't even remember.
Was it that ridiculous, the
junkyard match?
Junkyard match. Yeah, was it that match?
Where people nearly died because it was really unsafe or something. I don't know if it was that one.
The junkyard match was ridiculous. I do remember that junkyard match. And was it that match that he got hurt? I do remember that junkyard match, and I'm just trying to remember if that was it.
Because I remember him being there in I think June. Because didn't he do that angle with Raven where Raven took him to his garage or something, and they were talking about how Raven had a privileged upbringing? I can't remember exactly what happened. I think
that angle could have gone somewhere. You were playing Raven's sister, and that could have gone somewhere, and then that got dropped. And I think they were building towards Raven going with Piper, And, you know, and I mean, there was so much going on with that, and it just, I guess it was a sign of the times for WCW that it just got dropped.
Yeah, because that's the thing. I mean, we had built so much up into that. I mean, we had done probably, weeks worth of tapings for that stuff. I mean, we had built up a whole entire storyline for that. You know, just acting and vignettes and stuff.
They didn't like when things got over, when they had all these great ideas. I remember Mick Foley used to complain about it in his book of how he did pretty much the same thing you did, and then they would just like drop it half the time. It was insane the way that company did that certain things.
I mean, just the entire storyline that Raven had built up, and I mean the entire, oh my gosh, we had gone to this mansion and, you know, changed outfits and gone through this whole, oh my gosh, it was just the whole entire storyline and the whole, it was incredible. I mean, if you guys could have seen the entire storyline from start to finish, it was good. I thought it was really good.
How was it going to end up? Do you know what the finish
well, we didn't have the whole finish, but I mean the entire storyline. You know, just the storyline and the way it was built up, I thought was really good.
Yeah.
Now coming from ECW, which was a smaller promotion, not necessarily the budget of WCW. I mean, WCW had Turner's budget at the time before Time Warner said you can't have any money, and you know, there you go. Then they were pretty much had less production than ECW for a while.
We did a lot for what we had with ECW.
Absolutely, but absolutely. But was it completely different for you to be involved in something that, you know, they did have the money to rent out a mansion and all that, or was it that completely different than what you were used to in ECW?
You know what? I enjoyed it. Don't get me wrong. I did enjoy it. But you know what? I never felt as comfortable. And maybe it was just because I didn't have the time to feel as comfortable. I felt comfortable working with Raven and Sandman, you know, and that kind of thing.
Right.
But I guess maybe because of the timing, you know, the time that I had spent with ECW, maybe I just didn't feel, I just didn't get my niche in there yet.
Yeah.
I think was the thing.
Now, you mentioned that it was kind of Raven's idea with the whole mansion and the storyline about his upbringing. Did he push to bring you in to play his sister, or did they just kind of pair you up with him once you signed with WCW?
You know what? I'm not positive. I can't say for sure how that all you know, panned out on all that. I have no idea, to be honest. I have no idea. I would, if I were to guess, I would probably say he probably wanted me as his in the storyline, but I can't say for sure.
Absolutely.
I would probably guess he probably pushed it.
Now, what in the world brought you, seemingly a normal woman, now you have a family, you're completely different than a different position now than you were when you were younger, not younger, but, you know, a decade ago. What prompted a normal person to get involved in the wrestling business anyway?
Everyone asks me that question. Probably even my parents ask me that question. Well, let's see. I went to a wrestling match, and my boyfriend at the time had said, why don't you walk this guy down to the ring? And I said, huh? I said, all right. So I kind of, I guess, did it as a favor to him, and so I did it, and kind of, I guess, I don't know whether I can't even remember how it all happened, but I guess maybe I got involved too much or something, and then he said, well, now you got to do it again, and I said, okay, and then I did it again the next week or the next month or something in Baltimore, and then I had gotten hooked up with, then I had seen Raven, because Raven was a guest star that next week or the week after or the next month after or something, and he said, well, he said, "You've got some talent. Why don't you come up to ECW?" Well, to be completely honest, and I know this sounds really, really bad, but I never really watched wrestling as a kid. But I mean, it looked interesting to me, so I was like, okay, you know. And I know that sounds really bad.
Don't worry about it. Hey, have
we don't want to talk to you anymore. Get out of here.
I'm a huge fan now.
Well, I mean, if you see the Diva searches, none of the girls that are getting in there now have any idea. So, I mean, you're certainly not the only one.
They liked it when you got into it. They, I don't think, like it when they're doing it.
Well, believe me, I paid my dues enough to love it now.
Yeah, it's totally okay.
Well, I have to ask you now.
Well, let me tell you, the first time I went to ECW, and it was in Downingtown, Pennsylvania, and I walked Raven down in the ring, and Raven said, "Paulie, you've got to give this girl a try." So I walked Raven down to the ring, and I, you know, we did the whole match or whatever, and I came back to the back, and Raven walked up to Paulie and said, "So what?" And the first of Paulie's mouth was, "She sucks. Get rid of her."
Wow. So I guess Paulie wasn't exactly a fan then.
And Raven goes, "No, seriously, she has a lot of talent. Give her another shot." Wow. And so the next weekend I came up, and I think I got more involved in it, and that's when Paulie finally came back to him and goes, "Wow, this girl does have a lot of talent. Okay, we'll keep her." So, yeah, the first time he was like, "Nope, get rid of her."
Well, I'm backtracking a little bit here, but you mentioned that you started at an independent show in Baltimore. This wasn't Maryland Championship Wrestling, was it?
It absolutely was, yes. Yep.
Awesome.
Is that some big thing in Maryland or something? Do you guys look familiar with it?
The show. It is actually like a really big thing here in Maryland, and I've never been to a show, and I feel terrible about it.
Maryland Championship Wrestling is one of the they're one of the honest, high-class independent promotions in the country.
They are.
Yeah.
Jeez, I've never even heard of them. You guys are all like, yeah, Maryland. I'm like, what? But
Absolutely.
They're a tight ship, and they run a good show, and I got nothing bad to say about them. They do a good job from what they do. I mean, it's one of the few companies that, I mean, you look at who they brought up, you know, you talk about, well, I won't get into it too much, but I mean, a guy that John Morrison, who you're big fans of, he came up through there. I'm a
huge John Morrison fan.
Yeah, he came up through, absolutely. But jumping back to ECW, now, there's rumors throughout the world that people like Dawn Marie and Francine, they despise one another, and Francine and Beulah despise one another, and obviously we have a lot of the inside track on some of that, and I won't talk about it on the air, but we have a lot of the inside track on some of that stuff. But you guys, you don't really come up as somebody that was ever, "Oh, I hated her," and this one, she's trying to take my spot and all that stuff.
I got along with everybody.
Really?
I don't really, I
how nice she sounds, James. Nobody's going to yell at her or anything.
That's how Paul Heyman did.
I don't,
but...
I always, and I know that I don't know, maybe it sounds cheesy. I don't know. I just never really, I always traveled with Francine. I've always gotten along with Beulah. I was so happy to see her on, at the autograph signing. I haven't seen her in years, and her and I just kind of got back together, and we've been talking on the phone kind of off and on ever since that. I mean, I haven't seen Dawn Marie in a long time, but we always got along in wrestling. We actually, she used to work MCW as well, Maryland Championship Wrestling, and so I got to know her through Maryland Championship Wrestling, and then she came up to ECW as well for a little while I was there. So I have really no bad or ill feelings towards anybody. I've always gotten along with everybody, I guess.
We got to talk about the name.
Wrestling.
What's that?
That makes you a very rare breed in wrestling, because normally everybody's got beef with like 10 different people.
I know.
We got to talk about the name, because I can pretty much guarantee it that I can guess who came up with it. And here's why, because I know this person came up with Leia Meow. And this Chastity has got to be a Raven.
Oh, no way. That Raven, that's Scott. Oh.
Yeah, he comes up with all of his valets' names.
There you go. Are you surprised that one stuck with you as long as it has, though?
Yeah.
You like that one better than Brittany Bottoms?
Yeah, I did.
Are you
what
sure?
was that name about? What was that name about?
I have no idea. I don't even know where that one came from.
Who came up with that one? Was that Raven too? Because I'm beginning to doubt these IQ rumors now.
No, I have no idea where that one came. I don't even know where that one came from. I have absolutely no idea where that one came from. That might have just been like some. I have no idea. That might have just came from someone from Maryland Championship Wrestling.
That kind of came up with it the same way that the Spider-Man, like in a wrestling thing, you know. She has no name. Oh, here comes Brittany Bottoms.
Right.
I do hire that reference. What was the question, Patrick?
No, it wasn't a question. I was just saying maybe MCW should hire Bruce Campbell to come up with names on the fly like that.
I think Bruce Campbell involved in wrestling would be a great idea.
Yeah.
Chastity, have you ever been contacted by WWE as far as coming in? Maybe, I don't know, when they first started up ECW, was there any feelers sent out in your direction for that?
No, No.
Okay.
No, never with WWE.
Have you ever seen? Have you seen the new ECW and what they now call ECW on the TV now?
I have, yeah. I've watched it a couple times.
What's your honest opinion as it compares to the real ECW?
I'm not a big fan. I'm not a big fan. I think it kind of. I'm just not. I don't think it should be called ECW. I think
I think that's the biggest problem people have with it, because most people I talk to seem to like it, but it's just the name that bothers them.
Yeah, it's kind of like young guys wrestling and stuff, but calling it ECW, it's like you're expecting something else, and so, yeah, I think that's a big problem.
Exactly.
Can you honestly say there's anything about that show right now that's extreme?
No.
It's extreme developmental wrestling.
There.
That'd be ECW.
Yeah, I mean, it's got some good guys in there, and I think it's got some good wrestling in there. But I think putting the ECW name on it is just wrong.
Definitely.
I get the feeling, and you can comment on this or can't comment on it, but we've discussed this at great detail on this show over the years. I get the feeling that Vince did it because he got tired of hearing ECW chants. This is my thinking. Every time anybody would pick up a steel chair, you would hear ECW, ECW. So he probably said, you know what, I've had enough. I'm going to create a show called ECW that nobody would want to chant for. Therefore, next time somebody picks up a chair, they won't be saying ECW anymore.
That'll teach them to have something to be passionate about.
But you know what? I mean, you got to hand it to the man, too. I mean, the man has cornered the market. You know, I mean, he bought up WCW, he bought up ECW. I mean, the man's not dumb. You know?
Well, we actually, believe it or not, our last conversation right before you got on was on that very subject: is Vince McMahon dumb? And we had two sides to that. So we are. I was on the side of he's very, very smart, but it's because he's in the wrestling business that we think he's a genius. Because everybody else in the wrestling business, promoter-wise, seems to be a damn fool.
Yeah, well, yeah.
That's kind of where we're at.
Yeah, I mean, you got to give it to him. I mean, he did.
Did you see the necrophilia skit?
What's that?
Did you see the necrophilia skit in 2002?
No, I didn't.
That was.
Did you hear about it?
If you're not aware of what necrophilia is, it's sex with dead people.
Oh, yeah, he came up with an idea. This was to get Kane over somehow, and he had Triple H, the greatest wrestler of all time, insinuate that Kane. By the way, this is the character we've been led to believe is in a mental institution during his youth. Was accidentally killed a girl in a car accident, and then implied that he had sex with her body. I'm not making this up to offend anyone that's listening or you. I'm simply stating what was stated on the angle, and this was direct from what we've heard. Vince McMahon's it was his brainchild, and he thought this would make money, create compelling characters, and sell tickets. So,
Chastity, we'll get back to you in just a sec, but Eric, I do have to make a point because we're on the point. Who's your favorite band? Eric? Yeah.
You know it's Warrant.
Okay, Warrant. Now they released an album. What was it? What was the one that came out in '96? Ultra Phobolic, or was that?
No, that was Belly to Belly.
Belly to Belly. Okay, now there's some pretty shitty songs on that album, right?
I agree.
Okay. Consider that one of Vince's shitty songs.
Right.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying.
It's been making, for me, crappy songs since that time period. For me.
Well, that's what I'm saying here. Is you're taking one song, and you're making that the definitive motion of a guy if he's smart or not. If you take one song and judge it, you can't really say. You've got to take the entire body of work into consideration.
Well, I agree, and we'll get back to Chastity in 2 seconds, but I want to get back to her. That's why I'm not going to go longer on this. But I could make a compilation album full of Vince's shitty songs. So, and we'll get to this when I have an hour to go through this. But yeah, so Denise, that was the angle. But we were talking about the ECW TV show before we got completely sidetracked.
Yeah.
Right.
Now you've done some crazy things in wrestling, and one of the sickest things was when Just Incredible kind of got rid of you from ECW. That can't have been the most enjoyable time of your life, getting caned like that.
Oh no. No, it was not.
Did he take it easy on you, or was he swinging for the fences?
Are you kidding me? I think everybody was swinging for the fences for that one. Him, Jazz.
What was the storyline reason for him doing that to you? Was it just like Just Incredible hated everybody? I forget the reasoning for that.
Oh no. Well, I started dressing a little bit more sexy, and I wasn't wearing the clothes that he wanted. And, so he was trading me in for Jazz.
I'm in all due respect to Jazz, I would not make that trade. I don't know what he was thinking there character-wise, but I would not do that.
Yeah, I was being a bad girl. I wasn't wearing what I was supposed to wear, and so I got the boot.
Now, I remember Francine telling us on the show that Paul Heyman pulled her aside one day and told her to take a cane shot to the face and not put her hands up. Was this thing with Just Incredible caning you, was that Paul Heyman's idea?
Of course it was. Hey, if Paul told us to do something, that's what we had to do,
Was he the cult leader that we've all been told stories about? I mean that in a positive light, of course.
Well, put it this way: Paul made a lot of our careers. Put it that way.
Yes.
And when a lot of times when Paul said jump, we said how high. And there was a lot of times that that we had to put food on the table, and Paulie made that for us.
Now we hear a lot of people that apparently were not getting food on the table, because towards the end, I obviously left around thinking,
I wasn't around for that.
Yeah, she was gone by the point. She was gone.
I wasn't around for that. So.
Well, you did work for another company that has a storied past, and that is XPW. You did a couple shows for them. They had kind of a checkered past. How did you enjoy working for them? And at any point while there, did you think that it had any kind of legs like ECW had, or was it kind of like just a paycheck?
You know what? That was more of like a paycheck. I'll tell you the one thing I did enjoy working for them was Missy Hyatt. I know it's going to sound like the weirdest thing. I absolutely, and she was one person I thought I would never ever get along with. I met her one time, like when I first started working in the business, and I just remember her saying, and I overheard her saying in the background, "This is a girl that needs to pay her dues." And I mean, this was like my third show ever in Maryland. And I'm thinking to myself, oh, dear God, this girl's going to beat my butt in here. And, I mean, this is like my third show ever, and I'm thinking, this is Missy Hyatt. I'm like, this girl's going to beat my butt. So, and, you know, she was very intimidating, and I never saw her after that. And I finally met her again in XPW, and she was amazing. I mean, she was very, very nice, and we ended up being like the best of friends, and we hung out every single night after shows, and we it was in Hollywood, and we ended up going shopping every time we saw each other and together, and we had the greatest time. Excellent. And you know, we still talk on the phone every now and again, you know, a couple times a year, and you know, she's great. And that was probably the best experience I got out of that. But, and that was, you know, it was for a paycheck, and she was the main reason why I went out there, was to hang out with her.
So how did you enjoy being a valet for Lizzie Borden? Was that not something?
It was really strange.
Yeah.
What did you like?
It was really strange.
You think if we harness her cerebral abilities, we'd have enough energy to toast bread?
Maybe. I don't know.
I don't really know that.
What is she like?
Oh, gosh, can I remember? Very, let's see, if it weren't for her boyfriend, I guess, or her...
Was that Rob Black?
Married. Yeah, that was his name, yeah.
Mr. Red Shoes.
Yeah. I don't know that she would even have an opinion. I mean, very, very nice girl. I mean, I wouldn't, you know, very nice girl.
Before they got involved in wrestling, they were jumping on board with the when Jesse Ventura won the governorship of Minnesota, and they started running for office in California. And they
were?
Yes. Rob Black was running for office in California. Yes, this is true. And they did an interview with him and her on The Daily Show, which is a Comedy Central show where they kind of just make fun of everybody. And they asked her a question about if she ever did Hooked on Phonics. And she looked at the camera and legitimately said this, "Isn't that the language that black people speak?"
No, she didn't.
Oh, man. Can I YouTube?
She did. Oh, my God.
So Lizzie Borden, I guess what we're getting at, is not that intelligent. Is that what we're coming to a consensus here about?
She, you know, it's really, I mean, that's really, really bad. I mean, don't get me wrong. She's a very sweet girl, but she really is, yeah, she's, oh, poor Lizzie. Yeah, she's
you are
really
so diplomatic. You are. I see why nobody has any problem with you. You are so nice.
Oh, she's really not. Yeah, she's really not the sharpest tool in the shed.
I would get my ass beat the rest of this, but you.
All right. Well, listen. We got. Can we close out before we plug the upcoming show, Legends of the Arena, which people can buy tickets for at myspace.com.
Oh, yeah,
Legends
definitely.
of the Arena.
Everybody's got to go. You guys, I mean, seriously, if you went to an ECW show ever before in your life, you are going to so badly miss out if you miss out on this show.
And there was so many people.
Everyone's going to be there.
There were so many people that were so gung-ho about ECW. And I know that, you know, a decade has passed, and a lot of those guys that were maybe, you know, whatever they were at the time, you know, just step above Trekkies or whatever, are now hopefully with families and all that. But I hope that they remember where they came from as well, and what ECW was, because that was their home.
Yeah.
The event's gonna be huge. I fail to see how this thing's not gonna sell out, and like I have no doubt in my mind it will.
Oh, absolutely. It's going to sell out. Oh, it's going to sell out so fast. And I'm serious, if you don't get tickets now, you're going to be kicking yourself. I mean, there's going to be so many people there, and there's going to be all the old wrestlers there and the old valets there, and it's going to be such a good, fun event. You've got to go and get your tickets now.
You're helping a great cause.
So much fun.
So.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Before we let you off the phone, can we close out with our little psychological exam of sorts for you?
I guess.
It's just word association.
I kind of make it sound worse than it is. It's word associations. If you have a one-word answer for the name, that's cool. If you want to give a story for the name, that's awesome, too.
Okay.
How about somebody who's a recluse, and we're desperately trying to find, because his friends are trying to find him, Perry Saturn.
Oh gosh, I don't think he's doing very well. No one's been able to find him.
Yeah, I mean, I tracked him down. This is the truth. I was trying to find him because Terry Runnels asked me once, can you help us find him? And my wife and I went on the hunt, and we found him up until where he worked two months prior. And
really?
They said he had his mother had passed away or something, and he said he left that day to go down to Ohio or something to see to that, and he never came back to work. And that's the last thing that we ever found of him. Because I know that at Killer Kowalski's funeral, a lot of people were really worried about him.
Right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Oh, gosh.
Oh boy.
Yeah, that's bad.
How about on a lighter word association note? One of the coolest guys I've ever interviewed, and Mr. Monday Night, Rob Van Dam.
Oh God, love him. Flexibility.
I'll bet. How about Shane Douglas?
Coolest guy ever.
Yeah.
Love him.
How about somebody that maybe you might have something nice to say about, finally, one of the few that you might not, because a lot of people don't. How about Beulah? Did you get along with her?
Yes.
Really?
Very much. Yes, I did.
All right.
Yes, I did.
How about Tammy Sitch?
Yeah, I got along with Tammy. Yeah, I think that Tammy and I got along very well. I think that Tammy went through a lot of stages in her life. I think that Tammy was at a very, very high point in her career. And I think that she went down to a low point because she lost her contract. Mm-hmm. And she got down on herself, which is absolutely, not right, because she's absolutely a beautiful girl. And, then she found it again in ECW. And she's so talented. And we all know she's beautiful. Yeah. But God, she's so talented in the ring. And I think she found it again in ECW. And she's just a beautiful, talented girl. And I think she found it again in the ECW, and I don't think she's looked back. So I give her kudos. So.
Well, let's mention the name of the person who's running the Legends of the Arena event. How about Francine?
Oh God, she's like she's my sister. I mean, we ran ECW, up and down the East Coast together. We traveled together and slept in the same hotels together, and put up left the ring being put up together, and sat in the same dressing room together, and
like a buddy comedy.
Ate together, and worked out together. We did everything together. Between her, me, and Beulah, the three of us were pretty much together for most of ECW's existence, I think.
I'm sorry, let me give you one that I actually feel sorry for. And I'm going to say this, though. There was a scene, you were involved in this scene, and it haunted me for years. And I mean no disrespect, because it wasn't anything you to do, but I blame Quigley or whoever the ECW cameraman was at the time. She wore a thong to the ring, and it scarred me for life. How about Nicole Bass?
Oh, God.
Oh, gross.
Poor Nick. Nicole was awesome. She took everything like a trooper. She really did. She just, she was so upfront and honest with everybody. She didn't care about anything. She she tried so hard to be, you know, such a woman in a man's business, and she took no matter what the fans screamed at her, no matter what they gave her, she took everything in stride.
I felt bad for her.
She did not care. But she didn't care. I mean, she took everything in stride, and honestly, she did not let things bother her. She didn't care. She just let everything roll off her back. And she really did. And she had so much confidence and so much, she really did. Just the confidence and the air about her, she was awesome. She really was. She was, I mean, as strong as she was on the outside, she was just as strong on the inside. Don't let her fool you. She was just as strong on the inside. She was great.
Well, how about a guy I always thought was extremely funny, the quintessential stud muffin, Joel Gertner.
I saw him at the autograph signing, still as funny as ever.
That's good.
Yeah, he was funny just outside the ring, just as funny outside the ring as inside the ring.
Oh, great. Awesome. And we got a couple more for you, and we're going to let you off the phone. How about, unfortunately, I'm going to be the downer again, and Bam Bam Bigelow.
Oh, God. Let's see, I think when I heard that Bam Bam died, he probably left a scar on my heart.
Oh.
Yeah, he was probably the big brother I never had. I know when I used to bring my son to the locker room, he'd be the first to jump up and run up to him and throw him over his shoulder and run around the locker room. That's probably something I'll regret for the rest of my life, is not going to his funeral.
Oh.
But, yeah, I used to drive with him a lot. He used to lug me around from car to car and tell me a lot about the business when he was, you know, when he first got in it. And, yeah, he was probably the big brother I never had.
And a lot of people don't realize that he was also a really good guy, too. I mean, I remember there was a story that he helped some kids out of a fire.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And he got burnt pretty bad himself to do it. And
he did.
Yeah, and that, to me, he didn't have to do that. And that's a good dude right there.
Well, wasn't his son Scott going to be a wrestler?
You know, I don't know whatever came out of that. I don't know. He used to bring his two boys in the locker room from time to time. But I haven't seen them in years either. I don't know.
We got only 2 more left, and I'll take one, and then I'll let Eric or Patrick take the last one. I think Nick, our other co-host, has gone to work. We're running low on time here, so how about somebody that we talked about a little bit, Devon Dudley?
Oh, that's my baby. I talk to him once or twice a week still. He'll always be my baby. That's one that I'll probably talk to for the rest of my life.
Well, the other side of the coin, how about his brother, his quote-unquote brother, Bubba Ray Dudley?
Bubba. He's actually one of the ones that, the one that helped me make my final decision on going to WCW. That was probably one of the hardest decisions of my life. And I remember sitting in the stands and just really, really pondering over this decision, you know, for a few weeks. And I remember sitting up in the stands with Bubba, and I just was really, really beside myself. And he helped me come to my final decision. And I'll always, you know, thank him and remember him for that.
He seems to be the one who has to do that. I remember Devon didn't want to leave, and he had to basically say, I'm going with or without you.
Right.
And he had to basically you know, coax him into it.
He seems to be a final kind of decision maker and kind of, you know, helps a lot with that. So.
Absolutely. Well, I can't tell you. I mean, I could say, Eric, is there anything you wanted to add?
No, it's been lovely talking to her. I've never really talked to somebody in the wrestling business that's as pleasant as you have been. So it's been great to talk to you.
Thank you. You too.
Well, thanks so much, guys. I know that we've had some callers trying to buzz through here, trying to get in, and I mean, I did tell everybody before we got on the air we weren't going to take live calls today, so I apologize to those guys. But Chastity, it was such a pleasure having you on the show.
Oh,
this was
well, thank you.
honestly tremendous, and I think this will get some attention because, like I said, you haven't really done that many of these, at least not recently. So
no, I haven't.
be prepared. You're going to get the phone's going to be ringing off the hook soon from people who want you to. So. There's a lot of copycats out there.
I appreciate you guys.
The other hosts might not be as fun as us, but
yeah.
No, they won't be.
Well, I appreciate you guys, and definitely everybody who's listening, definitely get out and get to this show because there might not be another one out there like it, and you'll definitely be kicking yourself for not going.
This is the final. This might be the final chance to really say goodbye to what was something that did shape the wrestling business. I mean, if you watch WrestleMania this past year, you saw in almost every match there was a weapon, there was a ladder spot, there was something done. All that stemmed from ECW's fingerprints being on the wrestling business.
But the bad storylines at WrestleMania did not stem from ECW, so don't let that pass you.
Right.
Let's only give ECW the good credit, not the bad credit.
That's right.
Well, Chastity, again, thanks so much. And everybody who wants to tune in, who wants to check this out, do so and come meet Chastity and tell her that you heard her here on the interactive interview. And you can get your tickets right now at myspace.com/Legends of the Arena. You can also check out the link. We're going to put a link up on this interview page. You can click straight to the MySpace page and get your tickets. And again, tell them that we sent you here at the Wrestling Epicenter and the interactive interview. Chastity, one last thing can I ask of you?
Sure.
Would you mind giving us a liner basically saying this is Chastity and you're listening to the interactive interview?
This is Chastity, and you're listening to the interactive interview.
Awesome.